Top 10 misconceptions about space. 10. Myth: you can't travel through an asteroid belt. Reality: although our asteroid belt is filled with trillions of asteroids and minor planets, these are spaced incredibly far apart from each other. NASA has actually revealed that the odds of colliding with one another are 1 in a billion. The asteroid belt is a region in our solar system located between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. It takes up 50 trillion cubic kilometers of space, giving each asteroid an average of 1 billion cubic kilometers of space around it. Even asteroids in a cluster or family are spaced at a distance of hundreds of thousands of kilometers apart. To date, NASA have sent 11 probes through the asteroid belt without even getting a scratch. 9. Myth: Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, which makes it the hottest. Reality: a planet's distance from the Sun has little to do with its average temperature. Mercury is the smallest and closest planet to the Sun at just over 57 million kilometers away. During the day, its temperature reaches a high of 427 degrees Celsius. However, Mercury's rotation means that nights on the planet last 58 Earth days, and the planet's thin atmosphere means the temperature plummets as cold as -173 degrees Celsius at night. Although Venus is almost twice the distance from the Sun than Mercury, its thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide and nitrogen make it the hottest planet in the solar system. It maintains a constant temperature of around 462 degrees Celsius. 8. Myth: the Sun is a big ball of fire. Reality: fire is a chemical process that depends on heat, fuel, and oxygen, a chemical element that doesn't exist on the Sun. Instead, for more than 4 billion years, the Sun has been giving off heat and light to our solar system through nuclear fusion. The pressure and high temperature in the Sun's core cause the hydrogen atoms to stick together and fuse into a helium atom. This energy is then radiated across the solar system as heat and light. 700 million tons of hydrogen are converted into helium every single second. The hottest fire that can burn on Earth is 3038 degrees C, compared to the temperature of the Sun's core, which reaches 15 million degrees C. 7. Myth: you'd freeze if left unprotected in the vacuum of space. Reality: outer space is beyond freezing. The temperature measures at 2.7 Kelvin, the equivalent of -270.45 Celsius. But you won't freeze there straight away, you'd actually overheat. In the vacuum of space, there would be nothing for your body heat to transfer to, so cooling down enough to freeze would be impossible. Known as the Armstrong limit, in low atmospheric pressure, water boils at the temperature of the human body, 37 degrees C. This means that exposed bodily liquids, such as saliva, tears, and moisture on the lungs, would bubble and rapidly evaporate. In 1966, NASA volunteer Jim LeBlanc lost consciousness after being accidentally depressurized for 15 seconds in a training chamber. The last thing he felt before he blacked out was the moisture boiling off his tongue. 6. Myth: there is a dark side of the moon. Reality: the term "the dark side of the moon" doesn't refer to dark as in the absence of light, but rather dark meaning unknown. The moon is tidally locked with the Earth, which means that during its orbit, only one side of the moon ever faces the Earth. The side of the moon facing away from Earth is referred to as the dark side, as it remained unobserved until 1959. That's when the Soviet Union's Luna 3 space probe first photographed it. Both sides of the moon experience 2 weeks of sunlight followed by 2 weeks of night. In other words, they both receive almost equal amounts of light directly from the Sun. 5. Myth: comets have tails because they're moving so quickly through space. Reality: the comet's tail isn't to do with its speed or even the direction in which it's moving. In the deepest reaches of space, far away from the Sun, a comet has little or no tail. As comets travel from the outer regions of the solar system closer to the Sun, they begin to melt. This in turn sends dust particles traveling in the opposite direction, which means a comet's tail will always point away from the Sun. Comets actually have two tails. One is made of gas, while the second tail is made of dust and small solid particles. This is because the sun influences the escaping of gas and dust in different ways. As a comet travels, its tails can extend hundreds of millions of kilometers away from its body. 4. Myth: the Earth is round. Reality: the actual shape of the Earth is an oblate spheroid. Because of the force of the Earth's rapid rotation on its axis, the Earth actually bulges outwards at the equator, giving it the shape of a squished ball. Consequently, the diameter of the Earth is 43 kilometers wider across the equator than it measures from pole to pole. Because of this bulge, technically, Mount Everest isn't the highest point on the Earth and is in fact beaten to the title by Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. Despite it being 2,500 meters smaller than Everest, its location on the Earth's bulging equator makes its summit the farthest point on the Earth's surface from the Earth's center. 3. Myth: black holes are funnel-shaped vacuums. Reality: the misconception that a black hole is shaped like a funnel comes from the 2D representation of how a black hole's gravity bends the space around it. In the reality of a 3D universe, black holes are spheres, and their gravity has the ability to pull matter from all sides. An object's gravitational pull is only as powerful as its mass allows it to be. So, even if our sun was replaced by a black hole of the same mass, the planets in our solar system would simply orbit the black hole at the same distance as it would exert the same gravitational force. 2. Myth: without a spacesuit in space, the human body would explode. Reality: while you won't explode, the low pressure of outer space would have life-threatening effects on the body's lungs, heart, and brain. The rapid exposure to low pressure will cause ruptures and hemorrhaging to the lungs. The lack of pressure would cause the water in your body to turn into vapor beneath the skin, causing your body to rapidly swell to twice its normal volume. But despite the swelling, our bones, skin, and organs would remain intact within our bodies, preventing the body from exploding. 1. Myth: zero gravity exists. Reality: astronauts in the International Space Station are able to float not because there's zero gravity in space, but because of microgravity. The International Space Station orbits Earth at an altitude of 320 kilometers, which means Earth's gravity is still 90% the strength it is on the planet's surface. Because of the strength of Earth's gravity, the spacecraft, crew, and the objects inside are falling towards Earth. But because the Earth itself is constantly moving at 28,000 kilometers per hour, the spacecraft remains in a perpetual state of falling, which is called microgravity. This falling effect can be seen in the Tom Hanks blockbuster Apollo 13. Weightless scenes were filmed in NASA's specially modified plane, the KC-135, which flew 10 kilometers into the air before going into a steep dive back to Earth, all to create the illusion of zero gravity for 25 seconds. The film crew endured 612 of these flights to film 4 hours of footage.
If you found this video interesting, guys, you might also enjoy the top 10 unsolved mysteries of space. It's playing on screen now. Go over and check it out. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We really cannot thank you enough. We'll see you next time.